he said that our goal, the holy grail of paleocarcinology, that is the study of crustacean fossils, is that our classification and our phylogenies became the same thing. So I will try to bring my little contribution to this goal about a group we call Polychelidon lobster here. They are considered by many phylogenies to be a sister group from other Euryptonians, that is, lobsters and crabs. So, in a way, they are intermediate between shrimps and these lobster and crabs. But what are polychelidons? Well, there are this kind of beasts you see there. It's a crustacean that is quite flattened dorsoventrally, and they have 4 to 5 pairs of claws, hence the name. In the fossil record, many species used to live in rather shallow water environments. On the contrary, extant species live in very deep water. They are completely brown. And there are some authors stipulate that there is a trend from shallow water to deep water. So that's something I want to study. The other thing I want to study is their diversity. As you can see, there are 5 families of polychelid lobster, which one, the polychelids, that comprise all extant species. There's a little trouble with recognizing species to be assigned in polychelids and that in cholids. And cholids here, they are massive. They are above half of the fossil species described. Well, why are cholids so numerous? Well, mostly because the type genus Colleia is very numerous in species, and you can see when you compare species from Colleia, they don't really look like one another, so there might be a problem. Well, how can we solve this problem? Well, by a phylogeny. And there have been 2 phylogenies that include fossil polychelidon. This one from Ayong and this one from Karazawa et al. But the problem is, these 2 phylogenies, they focus on other aspects of fossil record. So they don't really answer a question because, for instance, you only have one Colleia and there are so few species of fossil polychelidon. So what I did is I do my own phylogeny with a much broader sample of fossil species, and numerous fossil species are in Colleia. I used 41 species, including 4 extant species and 3 groups. So in fossil species, I have 42% of the biodiversity that is included. To do that, I first do a complete revision of polychelidon lobster. So I look at every single species, compare them, and in the end, only 37 species were complete enough or well known enough to be included in the phylogenetic analysis. So when I did the comparison, I had first a hypothesis of homologies, and I tried to refine this, and in the end I obtained this table where I have a coding of all characters, so they are homologous and they are homogeneous between each species. And here is the result. Well, it's a little complicated, but in a nutshell, you have all monophyletic groups that are underlined by colors. Well, there are so many information. Let's break it in a few observations. First, there are polychelidon lobster are monophyletic. Well, that's a relief. That means I'm not doing completely wrong. Second, among the Erionids, which are the most well-known families of polychelidon lobster, interestingly, there is a differentiation between 2 groups. One is Knevelia, and it seems to be composed of species that swim quite well, and the other seems to be better adapted to burrow themselves in soft sediment. Third result, the collates. As you can see, here we have a dichotomy in the phylogenetic tree of polychaetal lobster. And the collates, they belong to large groups. And if we want collates to be monophyletic, we have to include polychaetes, which includes extant species. That's not very practical, and I think that we have hidden lots of the fossil diversity under the name collates. So I propose to break them in a few groups, so it's much more clear that way. So in the end, what happens to collates? Well, there are big sale on collates because they pass from 62% to only 12%. Well, there are many collates that I can't assign to any groups, but I think it's better to have something that is assigned to, that is said we don't know what it is, that rather than force it in a group, a wastebasket group. Other results are the discovery of species that are closely allied to the extant family of polychaetes. And in these species, you find that first, the polychaetes are quite an ancient family. They date back to the very beginning of the Middle Jurassic. Here you have a species from Middle Jurassic, and these species have large eyes, and this one from Cretaceous have very small eyes. So maybe there is a trend, maybe it is a trend of living in deeper water, but not so fast. If we look at the distribution of polychaetal lobster across time, first we see that this is a massively Jurassic group. The first occurrence in Triassic, but most of them are Jurassic. In Cretaceous, there's almost nothing. Well, that's for the distribution. Let's look at where they did live. Here in the yellow triangle, I put the occurrences from very shallow water, like Solnhofen. And you see, many fossil species used to live in shallow water, that's true. And extant species that live in very deep water, that's true too. But if you have a more complete picture of the problematic, you will see that, in fact, there are many species that used to live in fully marine environment, or even quite deep environment where the light tends to go down. So, in fact, now we have more data on this. You can see that more than often you will have the opposite trends. You have species that used to live in quite deep water that went to live in shallow water and went extinct there. Well, there's so we can summarize this like this. So no evidence for shallow water to very deep water transition, but maybe a stock of polychaetid lobsters that went to very shallow water or very deep water. Well, there's one exception here, but this is a larvae, and there was a poster about this, but it's not here any longer. But okay, this is larvae, and the larvae don't live in the same environment as adults. So I think the pattern still holds. Where are we about the holy grail of paleocarcinologists? Well, I did a complete revision of all polychaetid lobster. My advisor and his collaborators did a complete revision of Bifield lobster, and crabs, there's still much work to do, but it's still on the good way. So I think to have a good phylogeny of crustacean, we still have to do a complete revision of many important groups. So stay tuned, but don't hold your breath. Thank you.